Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. So I have really a kind of big mess on my desk right now, and that's because I'm trying to make some progress on the inside covers now of the fairy journals. So I have been kind of going through, I've done a couple already, and I thought I would turn the camera on. So this is what I want the inside of the book to look like. So I've been kind of going with this idea, like I've really enjoyed with the lap books I've made recently, using a vintage photo to kind of like set a tone for the journal. Like it could kind of put a character or a story behind who maybe the owner of the journal was at one time, or something like that, kind of a fun little magical narrative, right? So in this case, this is the orange book that I've been working on. And so the inside, I've used this paper to back it. I've added some Amity Bloom to the spine here. I've put an eyelet in through the top of the spine here because I want to do spine dangles on these journals. And then over here, I added two different pieces of scrapbook paper. One I cut a tab into here, so it's like a little file folder. And then I added the other piece down here. So we have two pockets, and then I've just added a nice piece of a bird field guide in there. I just think that they're beautiful, and they go with everything, but especially with fairy books. And a little fairy here, and this says fairies live for a very, very long time. And then we have the absent-minded fairy, this little thing here. But this is the vintage photo that I chose. It's a 1950s image of this adorable little lady sitting in a chair, and I've been drawing with gel pen these little wings on her. So I'm making little fairies out of these vintage photographs in just kind of a fun way that I feel like speaks a lot to like the tales that have been told about Cecile Mary Barker and her fairy studying, and how, you know, she had, like, if you've seen the Fairyopolis book, how she had like a scrapbook that, you know, she would write her fairy stories in, and she would put her photos in and things like that. So I feel like this is kind of the feel that I want these journals to have, like almost like sort of like a magical field guide for fairy study or something to that nature. So I use the same paper but opposite ways on both sides here, and then another piece of field guide for the back here, and added this butterfly up here. So that is what I want to do with at least one more of these today. And then I'll grab my signatures here. So this one, it can go and hang out for a little bit while I work on another one. Okay, so the next one is the yellow book. So I need to find paper for the inside. So to do this, I'm going to need two pieces of scrapbook paper. And the first thing I want to do is just reinforce the glue underneath this flap. This one is not as bad, but I'll put a little bit there. So this is turning what looks kind of ugly right now into a presentable interior to the book. Okay, so first I'm going to get a piece of paper that I'm going to glue over the center. You can also use fabric for this. Some people choose to use fabric, especially if you have a weaker spine, or if you've hand built your spine and you're like your closure to your spine, what connects here. But this one is actually very strong and it's original to the book, so I don't need to worry about it being like weaker. So I'm just going to pause for a moment, find the papers that I want to use on the inside, and we'll continue. Okay, so I've gathered the papers that I want to use. So this is the paper I want to use for the interior of the yellow book. I've spray painted the inside of these books silver, so I needed something that would go with both silver and with yellow, and I think this really accomplishes that. It's such a beautiful paper. And then I chose this to go over the center of the spine. This is an Amity Bloom paper. And then this is the photo that I want to go with today. So I'm going to just go ahead and draw the little wings with this. This is a Jelly Roll pen from Japan, size 10. And I'm just going to draw my fun little wings on these little girls. This is probably the most fun part of all of this for me so far. I'll just kind of give a little wing to the little girl. Okay, so now see, now they have wings drawn on, so we will set this aside maybe, or actually, I do want to give it a little bit of a vintagey, more vintage look. They are vintage photos. This one, it's Sharon, Barbara, and Arlene. It's so cute. 5.5, 4, and 2. So we'll just add a little vintage photo on the vintage photo. Okay. Now, set this aside. So first thing I want to do is work with the covering this spine. Just sort of shove these over here for a second. So the first thing I need to do is just cut off the white. I'm just going to do it on the guillotine over here. Okay, so we've cut off the white, and I also trimmed the paper just a little bit in doing that. So that's a good size. Now, what you want to do is just determine what you'd like to have sort of showing here, right? So I'm going to cut this about, I want it to be probably about 3 inches-ish, because I want it to cover the whole spine, but I also want it to go underneath the other paper a bit for some strength. So let me cut that out. Now, because we're not going to see these flowers, I'm actually going to save this and set it aside and just use this fun ledger as what's down the center here. So what I'm going to do is use glue stick on this. Now I use a high quality glue stick that I can trust, that doesn't lift and cause any problems. And then what I also do is I go under the edges with a bit of art glitter glue when I'm putting down this paper that's like the final cover to the spine. And this is just regular copy paper that I've printed on, so it's not super thick or anything, and I actually really like that because I don't want anything to bulk my spine up too much. So let me just kind of take my fingers. I'm going to press this down and press it into the crease of the spine, because this is a bit of a rounded spine, right? And then you're going to just make sure it's down nice and neat. Just kind of keep pressing it until the glue, you know, fully dries and you're really feeling like that's a nice and secure, nice looking folding. Okay, so that's good. And then I think I could use a little bit more glue right here on the corner. Corners are what I always seem to miss a little bit and have to go back and check. Okay, so that's perfect. Now I'm going to cover this up so we don't get glue everywhere. Then I need to measure what size these papers need to be. So I want to cover over all of this and a bit of this, this edge, right? I basically want it to be like a good, you know, cover with a little bit of an edge. So I'm just going to measure first the long way. So I want this to come up to about here. So that's going to be 10 1/4. A little under 10 1/4, like maybe 10 1/8 by, and I usually cut them a little bigger. So you've got some leeway here, right? Because you've got this paper here that covers here. So if you only wanted to cover to here, you could, but I'm going to bring it back a bit. And I'm going to go, I think, 6.5 inches on that. So 6.5 by 10 1/8 is what I need these to be. So then just line them up the way that you want them. And then I'm going to cut them over on the guillotine. Actually, I'm going to bring the guillotine up here because it's a little dark away from the table, because I don't have my backlight on so that I don't get any shadows here. So let's just go to 6.5. And then set aside your cuts because you're going to need at least one of them. And then 10 and, not quite 10 and a quarter, 10 and an eighth. And probably I'm still going to be a little bit big because I always overestimate first. It's always good in this situation to be bigger, too big than too small. Because if you're too small, then you end up seeing the ugly stuff, right? So that's perfect, actually. That's perfectly what I want. Okay, so now we're going to use our glitter glue. And then what I do, I just hold the paper. Actually, wait, no, one step I forgot. Inking. I just want to give a little ink on the edge here because this will just give this a nicer, more vintagey look. Like this book has had a little bit of wear and tear and travel to it. Which kind of it has, because I've been carrying these books around for a while now and working on different aspects of them. I'm pretty excited to finish these books. I can't wait. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. I'm pretty happy with how they're coming along. It's also just nice to get this out of my system. I wanted to make fairy journals for so long, and finally I've just decided, okay, I have collected so much fairy stuff that I really need to get this done and done. So we're doing it. On a grand scale, we're doing it. And I know a lot of people have made comments like, wow, when you get on something, you really get on it. Yeah, in this case, I surely did. I don't normally mass make at such a level, but I'm just kind of, I'm in a groove. I don't know. And the nice thing is, you know, it doesn't matter what theme you're working with, really. You can still do lots of different ephemera, and you can use different techniques. Like I made button cards for these journals. I made like fun like stitch cards, like all sorts of things. So, you know, you don't have to confine yourself to a theme and then think, oh, I can only do a certain kind of ephemera. So, and you could even, you know, still work with, like if you prefer to work only with like authentic and vintage materials, then you can do that. But then, you know, you could stick a fairy on that old, you know, stitching booklet, or like so needle book, or, you know, postcard. Maybe you have an old vintage landscape postcard. Well, you know, you could stick a little fairy on there, or even a little word snippet that's related to fairies or whatever your theme is. Okay, so I'm just covering that up. I have to unclog that glue bottle. It's currently not very happy with me. Okay, and I'll just carefully lay that down. And I just kind of gently go around the edge and I press inward toward the glue on the edges, and then I just smooth it out. Now, scrap of paper, the thickness of it makes it considerably easier, like to work with. Like it doesn't wrinkle up like a copy paper would. So okay, so that's that. Now other side, I'm just going to unclog my glue here first. Whoops. There we go. If you need to unclog these glue bottles, the best thing you can have is a really, really long needle that's used for doll making. You can get them at most kind of craft stores, or they're like a really long needle and they're fine, so it's perfect. Now, I've seen a lot of people, you know, when you lay glue down like this, they're worried like, oh, my squiggly marks are going to come through. So this paper's too thick for that, so you don't have to worry about it. But if you were using a thinner paper, you would definitely want to go over it with like a credit card or a smoothing tool, like a little spatula tool to like smooth it all out. I don't have to worry on this paper. It's too thick. It's not going to care. Kind of lining it up to the original book paper here. gluey hands. This is just a dry baby wipe. It's a nice alternative to using your hands for these kind of things. Okay, there we go. Let's wipe that excess glue off. Okay. So now I'm happy with this. Now I need to flip the journal over and make sure I'm right side up. So this is where we're going to create our little folder style kind of pocket thing for the inside to put our photograph on, and to create a space to put our field guide pages. So you could use a different paper for this. I'm choosing to use the same one because I really like how the continuity kind of looks. So I'm just going to line this up and then take my ruler over here and get an estimate of where I want this. I want it to be about the same size. So just, there we go. Tear it off. Save this because we're going to use it. Then the other thing I like to do with this is I'm just going to scissor cut. You could definitely cut this with a cutter if you were worried about like being super straight. I'm not. Okay, so then I'm going to take my corner rounder. I'm going to corner round all these edges, both sides of my tab here. I was just cutting these by hand, which is easier for this inside, but I'm going to try. There we go. Yeah, okay. Now we need the ink again. I just like how having a tab looks. It just kind of gives it that field guide feel to it. I love this dusty floral, it's so nice. Okay, so now it's time to grab our photo here and just decide where you want it. I kind of like to put it like here, underneath of the tab, kind of central. And then what I'm using to attach this one is actually this little stapler that I have. So I just kind of go in and I add staples to just secure it. Now I only have so much space that I can travel with my stapler, so sometimes I just add a single staple, like right there. But this one I just want to add the 3 just because I feel like it. No rhyme or reason. Then the other thing that you can do here too is you can find, like I have this little, this is a word snippet from a fairy book. It says, sometimes you hear fairies before you see them. A whisper, a giggle, a faint sound of chattering, or the tinkling of bells. So I'm going to put that on there because I just like it. Like a cute little thing, but also like just a book word snippet is good. So I'll just glue this one on. Okay. Now we can glue this pocket down. There we go. There we go. We have our pocket glued down. So now we're going to go back to this piece that we had left over. And I want to do a bureau style pocket for the bottom back corner of the journal. So bureau style is just, you know, this rounded corner, like an office style pocket. So now we just want to ink the edges up on this one, especially where the paper core is visible here. I like to leave the grungy paper core, but I do want it inked up. And then you can decide how, if you want to decorate this pocket, you can. You you want to put something more on it, like another picture, or, you know, maybe like a little landscape would be nice to show, like, you know, where are you doing your fairy studying. But I'm going to leave it alone for this journal so that I leave the option open to whomever would want to take this journal home. Okay, so that is that. Now, the next step for me, before I stuff it with a few things, I'm not going to super stuff it, just a few things, is I want to punch the hole here for my spine. Now, these are small spines. Otherwise, what I'd be doing is measuring and everything, but I can eyeball this one, and I'm just going to use my, my chomper here. I go about like a little over a ½ inch into the center of the spine, ½ inch from the top. Then I need to get an eyelet to put in there. So let me find an eyelet. Plunk an eyelet through. There we go. And then we'll just put this on here. Come on. Eyelet setting is like the trickiest thing. I swear it is the trickiest thing. Oops. Oh, that's the problem. Hold on. This isn't clicked in. Okay, that'll be easier. I just gotta get realigned here. There we go. That worked. Okay. So what's the purpose of the eyelet, you ask? Well, this is where I'm going to put my my strings, or my probably waxed linen, to do my spine dangle through the eyelet. So that's going to be the next step before sewing in the signatures. So and what I'll probably do is I'll add the strings, but I won't add all the beads and stuff. I will just add the strings that I'm going to tie things onto and leave them long. Then I'll sew in the signatures, because I won't have all the stuff there, right, getting in my way when I'm trying to sew in the signatures. Yeah. But I mean, I may be putting a separate spine into this to have a hidden spine, because as you can see, I've decorated the spines on these books, and I don't think I want to impact them with, you know, holes and stuff. So anyway, I am blabbering. Okay, so let's put some stuff in here. I want to put a field guide page in each side of this, just because they're beautiful. Then I've been putting these fairies in there, but I'm not sure if I have any more. Let's see if I have any more of those big fussy cut fairies. I think I may have no more, so I have to move on and do something a little different, unless I want to print more. No. Okay, so let's maybe add to this one. I've got these big butterflies, so maybe will this fit, or is it too big? Too big, I think. What about back here? Yep, back here it will go. And that'll be kind of cute because the wings coming out is really pretty. So yeah, let's do that for this journal. And then I'm sort of thinking about maybe putting this here, Guardians of the Trees. This is just from another fairy book. Because I don't know, I just like to make like these interesting, but like I don't want to overpack them or anything, because I do want people to have options. If they want to add their own bits and bobs on the covers, they can. So I sort of, it's kind of two, maybe more than two, but at least two kinds of people who, you know, buy journals or use journals, and that's those that really want to do their own thing, and then some people just really want the whole thing made for them. And then there's kind of your in-betweeners. So what I like to do is probably appeal most to, well, to everyone if I can, by not doing too much of anything, just leaving it a little open. Okay, so I think that one is done. I'm pretty happy with that. That's fun, right? And I think it goes nicely with the yellow. Yeah. Okay, let's grab the signatures. We'll just plunk those inside here. And that book is done for now. So I'm going to work on another one now. And it will be the red book. So let's see. I think I'll get my materials for this one and I'll do it with you as well because we haven't taken up too much time. So let me go grab my stuff. Okay, I'm back. These are the papers I'm choosing for the red book. So this is another Amity Bloom page, and this is more scrapbook paper. And this is the photo I want to go with, these two ladies sitting in these chairs. And this is from August of 1957. So I really love the idea of like the grandmother fairy. I've been kind of depicting like kids, women, and like some older women just because I love the idea of the grandmother fairy. And in the first book that I showed you that was already completed, I don't know if you noticed that there was a little word snippet that said that like fairies live a very, very long time. So yeah, I think that's lovely. So we'll just give them their wings. And I love doing little bits of this, you know, hand drawing. It's very, I think, charming for this kind of a project. So there we go. They've got very big wings. They've got very big, beautiful wings. Okay, so let's trim this paper. So this one I've just gone ahead and I've cut exactly like what shape I know I want to use. Move these out of the way. And we'll take a look here at what kind of work I need to do to bring this down a little more, a little shorter. Okay. Oh, still a little shorter. I'm still learning. Okay. You could measure this and make it like quicker on yourself than what I am doing. Okay, so this book, it's got a bit of curviness to it. I'm just cleaning it up, like taking a look at what I'm going to need to do here. So I think for this one I want to use a little bit of fabric maybe. Just going to grab a piece of muslin. One moment. Okay, sorry about that. I had to reach for my muslin. Okay, so the way that I want to use this, I think I just want to cut this in half. I mainly just feel like I need muslin at the top and the bottom. Primarily. So this is a little bit of a different process than the past book. I'm just going to plunk that down for a second here, and then I need my spatula to just flatten out the glue. Going to press it into the creases here. This is a pretty creasy book. It's got like a double crease. And I'm just doing this to make it easier to lay down my paper, honestly, and not have it be all super bumpy. It's not really about the stability of the book so much. I'll just cut a little piece off here so that I can use it up there. Okay. I'll just do this. Now, I don't normally put glue in the ditches, but in this case I'm going to, because it's got a very thick ditch, and it's got double like divots, and I just want this to be able to have some sticking power here. It's a little bit tricky, but it works eventually. Just need the glue to firm up a little. Yeah, now it's starting to firm up. That's good. I'm going to do a once over after this with another tool. So I'll just do that as well. Okay, and we'll put a little more glue on the edge here. I wasn't sure how much space I had to cover. It's going to pop out at first before the glue really sets. That's why you have to kind of be patient and go over it a couple of times here. And so you would use one solid piece if you were doing this like to, you know, really firm up a spine. That's not the purpose of what I'm doing right now. But even then, this will really firm up a spine. So I'm just going to try a ruler actually before I get my other tool out, the bone folder, because the ruler is good because it's nice and long. So I'm able to go further down the crease and get everything to hold down. There we go. That's better. Okay. So that's all in the creases now, so that's good. So that's just going to give me a little bit less of a gap to have to deal with as I'm laying my paper on top. So yeah. Now in this case, just because we have fabric underneath it, well, not fabric, but muslin, the glue is actually going to be able to come into contact with each other, like the one I've got on, the glue I've got on the book, plus the glue I'm applying to this paper. It will be able to kind of come into contact with each other, which is great. That's why I'm doing this quickly while it's wet, because art glitter glue dries so fast. But I want that kind of a bond between the two bits of glue. You know, it's already feeling great, firm. So again, we're just gonna go over this a few times, and then quickly before the glue is too dry, bend the book and gently go in to each of the creases. Okay. Gonna give this a little push. Yeah, that's really well bonded already. That's great. Okay. And use a plastic ruler. Don't use a metal one, because a metal one will actually make a cut in your paper. And just kind of go slow. Guide it a few times. See, I'm just being patient here, because you know, you're working with bends and wet glue. So just close it for a second. Take a look, make sure nothing looks like it's rippling up. Good. Just kind of try to give it a press while it's closed. Like, see that? I'm just trying to smooth over this base paper. Okay. So yeah, done. That wasn't too terrible. So this book, let's measure it and see what size we need our internal paper. So this one I need to be just a little over 9.5. Yeah, a little over 9.5. Then this way I will go, I go full 7. Do we want a full 7? Yeah, just about 7, not quite. Okay, let me cut these papers. These are the papers I'm using. I gotta bring this up here again. I totally forget my measurements. Oh my goodness. This probably won't happen to you because you're not filming and trying to like talk at the same time, but just in case, you know, you're absent-minded like me, write it down. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, so just a little over 9.5 by, what did I say, like not quite 7. So a little over 9.5 by not quite 7. These are my measurements, right? No wonder I can't remember them. Okay. So here we have 9.5. Let's go one more. Maybe 1.5 more. Set that aside. Then we probably won't use these for that project, but we'll use it for something else. And then, did I say not quite 7? Yeah, I did. Not quite 7. So right there, one before 7. One little line before 7. And keep those because you're going to need them. Okay. Let's see how we measure up, because typically, like I mentioned before, I go a little over, so I do have to do a little trimming. No, I'm perfect this time. Okay, yay! So, this is the red book. There's some oranges in here, so I think I'm going to ink this with a different color than just vintage photo. I think I want to use this orange. Look how pretty that pops. This nice ink. This is a French ink made by Aladdin. It's called Eyes Ink. I don't know if you can buy it anymore. I don't think so, actually. I think you can get variations of it, but not this particular one. Which is too bad, because I love this ink. I love it. All right, so let's start putting these down. Side one. I think this is one of my favorite parts of making these journals now, like making books in general. Playing with what I do with the inside covers is a lot of fun. I've also been kind of inspired lately by Catherine Brown from Catherine Brown Art. She always includes a couple of really cute personal things inside her journals, which is like, she calls them a 4 Nanas bookmark, like it's a picture, or 2 Nanas, I'm sorry. I just created more Nanas for her, which I'm sure she wouldn't mind. But it's the 2 Nanas bookmark, and it's like a picture of her two Nanas, I think, or her mother and her grandmother. And then she's been making these really cute little artist trading cards that she calls like little Catherines, and they're like a picture of her when she was a little girl. Very, very adorable. And I don't think she includes the little Catherine in every journal, but she includes the bookmark. But I'm thinking of doing something a little similar, but a little different, because I'm, you know, a troublemaker. I'll share something with you. I'm thinking of putting these inside with my business cards. So this is a picture of me, and I just printed it 9 times on this paper. So this is me when I was 5, and I'm camping with my parents, and I think I just look like a little, not a little firefighter, but like a little fire starter. And I've got my little teddy bear that I've dressed up in these totally weird outfit, and I have a little plastic fire hat on. I still have that teddy bear. My dad got it for me the day that I was born, and I still have it. And it's the softest teddy bear ever. It's so cute. So anyways, I'm thinking I might start including something that I make with those, maybe in my journals. I haven't decided yet, but tell me your thoughts. I think it's kind of cute to have something personal from an artist when they make something for you. Like, I think it's kind of nice, right? So, all right, let's get these going now. So we want to do that tab again. And we're going to just use our scissor skills here. Cut across this sort of 3/4 of the way. But yeah, I've been sort of thinking about doing that little picture for a while now. And then I was reminded recently, because Catherine does a little giveaway of her super adorable ATC cards. So I thought, you know, maybe I should get on this. It'd be a nice little project. Ink, ink, ink. Okay. Now it's time to add our grandmother fairies. So this one, I think, yeah, I'll put it there. I'm just really comfortable with that positioning. And I need my stapler, which is around here somewhere. There it is. There's little paper scraps everywhere. So I'll do this corner. I was just going to do the one staple in the center up top, but I don't want to mess up this date here, so I think I'll just do like 4 fun little staples like that. And then maybe we'll see if we can find a nice little word snippet. I've got so many different little fairy style word snippets over here. Elves had flown away to play their tricks. These are too big. This one is nice. I believe that it was no accident that I came to the gates of the fairy realm. It's a little big for this card though. We need something smaller for this one, I think. I don't want what you may not know, but fairies know. That's nice. And it's also a nice pink, so it will go well on this paper. There's my little, there it is. Now we will glue this one down. Okay. All right, now let's make our other pocket for the back here. This goes into scrap. So this one, I just have this little piece, so I think I'll use maybe some of this so I can have a slightly bigger pocket. Yeah, we'll go with that. Get rid of these scraps. Okay. now we need something to put in these. Maybe some hummingbirds at the back would be cute. Hummingbirds. Okay. Let's see what else. Maybe a butterfly in here too. These big pink ones. Yeah, okay. Kind of have that like a little visible there. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So now we gotta grab our signatures. Plunk them inside. Okay, so there's the red book. Oh, you know what I forgot to do is the eyelet hole. Hold on a minute. We have to do the eyelet hole. Okay. Then we need an eyelet. Oops. It's hard to pop these eyelets in sometimes. Eyelets are sometimes the hardest part of what you do on a journal. This one's just being tough because it has to go through the muslin as well. So I'm just going to kind of help guide it along here with my little pokey paper piercer. There we go. That's a little better. Oops. Perfect. Okay, so this one is done. I think I just need to fix a little glue spot here. There we go. We need a little more glue right there. That's better. Okay. Put these back in the book. Right, and that is this one. Okay, so I think that's it for me for now. I will continue puttering along, working on these book insides, and then I think after that I'm going to bind them to sew in the signatures, and I will then probably just do the finishing touches, some stamping and stenciling, some you know, glue down of little fussy cuts of things here and there, word snippets, and just overall kind of audit how I feel about them being done. And then we're going to be on like a whole parade of like flip throughs. So I know these are all fairy journals, but they're all going to be considerably different. There's nothing really in them that's like the same thing that I've printed again and again and again. I'd say that the majority of the journals, like for all of the assets that I'm putting in the journals, there's probably 2 maximum of that original thing that I had, and that would be either digital things or purchase things. Like I had 2 copies of 2 of the different books that I've used in these, so there will be assets from those 2 books twice, but they don't appear in the same journal usually, I don't think. I was pretty careful about that. I would sort of process 1 book at a time, divvy the pages between all, I think, 15 journals or something like that. I don't even know how many there are at this point. I've been just working away. So all that being said, thank you for hanging out. I'm going to go try to wash all this glue off of my hands and continue along. So have a great day. Bye for now.